Good morning, friends and neighbors. Welcome back to the Hapeville channel this morning. I'm taking advantage of this nice weather while we've got it, so that's why I've been taking walks pretty regularly, because it's going to get cold and gray as we expect, so I want to take advantage. So today I am at the corner of North Avenue and Hope Street. I'll flip this around. There we go. North Avenue and Hope Street. There's a lot of activity going on over here at the construction site, and then I figured I'd walk down Hope Street. It took me a little while to figure out where to park down here, because I always want to be conscious of where I'm parking, because sometimes people get a little weird when you park right in front of their house, so I try to find places where I'm not doing that. But good morning, Don. So I'm just going to wander around here and share with you what's going on this morning. This is the far end of North Avenue. Here we are at Hope Street and North Avenue. That's looking back towards Central, North Whitney, Myrtle, Lake. So I figured you might find it interesting back here. You can see the Ramada, the old Ramada Inn there, and look at the activity going on there. And it's such a bright, sunny day that I figured I'll walk down this way and give you a glimpse. This is number 780 North Avenue, and it's so open here now that all the trees have been cleared out. My neighbor Jana Lynn lives there. And we're coming up onto Stillwood. Of course, there was a time that you long-timers would remember before the highway was here that this road went all the way through to Sylvan. Here's number 783. My friend Sharon Hope's house at 793. And of course the dead end sign right there. But look what a clear shot you get up this hill now, going up Stillwood. You see? They're digging pretty deep there. It's interesting because I would like to have seen what the Stillwood and Spring Haven neighborhood used to look like, because it's very, I imagine the houses were along the street and around the other side, and then it dipped down behind the houses. That's my guess, because the land just goes down. So these folks, Sharon at 793, this house here, number 809, and all the rest of the houses down here, for the longest time, good morning, Bob, for the longest time now, a few decades, they were just facing all of this empty land when the original neighborhood was torn out, and they had never developed whatever they had planned on developing at that time. But now these houses that were down here where it was so quiet, they're going to be facing either 48 or 58 single-family townhomes are going to be in here. And on this side right here, these houses that were, facing woods, they're now going to be facing, I think the clubhouse for it is back here, in the pool, and the their post boxes, like all of that community stuff is going to be right here off of this street. At least by the plans that the city shared. That's what I seem to remember. And they're working on phase 1 right now, which is 12 homes that are going to be right here. So as you're coming down the hill, good morning, Kim. Good morning, Beverly. You can see that. The birds aren't too happy about it. Can you hear them? Oh, they shut up as soon as I pointed the phone in their direction. Do you see that? Watch, when I pull away. Well, they were chirping, and then I'd go back and they stopped chirping. Anyway, this is such a beautiful house. Number 819. It just blows my mind that there was a time where they would have had neighbors all over here. Sorry about the sun being right in your eyes. And then 825 is a tiny little house that is still, good morning, Megan, that is still surviving down here. Tiny, tiny little house. Look at that. It's adorable. It's not going to be lonely anymore. And then boom, at 8:31, you used to be able to go all the way across to Sylvan, but now, you know, I've never walked up here to actually see, well, I can't see. But you can see here, they cleared this all out, but there's this really old sign that's still there. I guess they're gonna have to get another company to come in and take it down. I don't know, but this was Spring Haven. And I wonder if they're gonna leave this. I hope they do, because this traffic is gonna be crazy and there needs to be a circle around outlet. Of course, that's my unprofessional opinion. I would assume they're gonna leave it there and maybe we'll still have a little stretch of Spring Haven, but they'll probably rename it, or I don't know. But there's a lot going on there. Don says, I miss the Blue Jays. We have them, but they stay high in the trees. Is that what I was listening to? Were those Blue Jays? Earlier in this year, the lady that owns this house, she had a party, and so Douglas and I went to join her at the party. And what's really nice is you can see how this land goes down like this. Well, there's a creek. There used to be a creek, but now what they've got to work on is routing that water down through here. And I know they asked the city for some kind of variance in regard to the watershed. I don't know what that variance was, but you can see down there the water and those pipes. It looks like they're digging in it. But what I wonder, and I feel a little connected to it now. Good morning, Angela, because you know the stream starts up there and it comes all the way down and it goes under the street. And then when I was at this party at this lady's house who owns it, she has this beautiful, huge backyard, and the stream goes right through her backyard. She has a little bridge over it. There's rocks. It's absolutely gorgeous. And it makes me wonder if that is going to be disrupted and she won't have a flowing stream there anymore. But I suppose it depends on how well they're able to do this. There it is right there. They're just gonna have to like pipe it through, I guess, because it's literally gonna be under all these townhomes, unless, you know, what would be really nice? What would be really nice, and maybe oh wow, that's so cool. Yeah, they're laying the pipe right now. So they are making moves to direct this water. Look, there's a pipe. See the guy standing there? Look at that. So they are creating continuous water flow so it can go through here. So what I wonder is if they're going to put that pipe in and then like build over it, or if it will be its own little open stream. But it goes right through here and behind her house. It's fascinating to me. Good morning, Ian. It's a pleasure meeting you yesterday. Good morning, Lita. So that's what's going on here at this intersection down here, where it's been so quiet for so many years. And so from what I understand, back in the 70s, if I'm not mistaken, that was the decade that some company came in and bought all of the houses and tore them down because they were going to build something here. I don't know what they were going to build. You guys would have to tell me. One person said an office park, but none of it ever got built. And so all the houses were torn out. A lot of locals would say for nothing. And then it just sat empty for all of these years. But not anymore. So it's going to be really busy along this stretch right here, and it's going to change the aesthetic for folks like Sharon and other people who live in this area. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. So I wanted to show you that, and then I parked over on Hope Street, and I figured we'd walk down Hope Street today. Good morning, Matina. Matina, I wonder if you're watching me from your house. Matina lives right up there. Nice to see you, my friend. When I drove by this morning, I saw a little car parked back there. It was a blue car. I'm assuming that's your car. But, I mean, Jana Lynn used to live down here. It was so quiet, and now for however long, she's going to have to deal with that in her backyard. There's a lot of change going on here in Hapeville, and I never noticed this before, but between this house and the one on the corner of Hope, which I'll talk about in a minute. Oh, I love it. Look. Oh my God, can't even get to the sidewalk. There's still so much land in between these houses, and I love it. This is something that I love to see. Look at the old clothesline posts sticking up there. That brings me back to my childhood, and they looked like that when I was a kid. Those kind of clotheslines were old and rusty. It's the same kind of piping that they made playground material out of when I was a kid. But there they are. I imagine somebody coming out and hanging out their laundry, which nobody does anymore. Let's see. Janet Holder, welcome. She says, Springhaven is where my parents lived when I was first born. I have no memories of it, but a few years ago, we rode through there and took pictures. I think I have a few pictures from 1954 my mom had. Oh, I would love it if you wouldn't mind, Janet, if you find those pictures and that you can digitize them or take a picture of the pictures and send them to me. I'd love to see them. I love sharing photos from, good morning, from Hapeville before me. All right, so here we are at North Avenue and Hope Street again, and we're gonna walk up Hope Street. Now, the sun is just so perfect at this time of day. This house is number 773, and the only thing I know about it is that decades and decades ago, this house is old. I think 1901 off the top of my head. I may be wrong on that. There's a big chance I am, but I remember when I looked up the age of this house, I was shocked. It was a lot older than I thought. But the one thing I do know that is significant about this house is this is where whoever the man was, back in the 20s or 30s, I can't remember the decade. I want to say the 20s. I was a Boy Scout myself, and I can't remember. Yeah, that would make sense, the 20s, because Baden-Powell started the Boy Scouts, I think, in like 1904 or something like that. Anyway, in this house lived the man who was the very first Scoutmaster and had the very first Boy Scout troop here in Hapeville. Over the decades, they got up to like 3 Boy Scout troops, I think I've heard. Could be more, but what a beautiful day. Look at the sun. And anyway, all the locals knew this is where the Boy Scouts would meet at the beginning of the Boy Scout organization, and they called this the tent house. Locals don't know that now. I think I read it in the Hapeville history book somewhere in an oral history, but back in the day, the Boy Scouts would say, we're going to meet at the tent house. And I would imagine it's just because of the architectural style of it. Good morning, Phyllis. But they called that the tent house, and that is 773 right on the corner of Hope and North Avenue. Okay. This is another house that I always find it interesting in towns, in this town, where someone has a corner lot and the house was literally built and that's the front facing and that would be their address. But you can tell because of the automobiles and how we drive into our driveways and walk in, that's really the front of their house now, the main access part of their house. And you see that a lot in Hapeville. Hardly anybody uses their front doors. But here it is up close, 773, the tent house. I absolutely love it. And gosh, I wish I knew who lived there. I'd love to go look inside of it. Let's see again. Their house faces the front, and I'm wondering now if their address is North Avenue or if it's Hope Street, because here's their mailbox on the side. It's a fascinating little house. By the way, you haven't seen this yet. This is what I call my Hapeville hopper. When Douglas has to work and he takes the truck, I drive this around. It's fun. It's a Mercedes, y'all. I can't afford a full-size Mercedes. All right, so here's 3238 Hope Street. Another little American small type house. 2 rooms across the front. The most common style here in Hapeville. There's its sister across the street, number 3235. Oh my God, what a pretty day. 3233. This one still has its original screened-in porch, which This is number 3232. That's what the porch on my house looks like. I love it, with the wood slats and just the screen stapled to it. That came to be in like the 30s, and so many of our houses still have it. Number 3230, they closed in their porch a long time ago. Another original porch with the wood slats and the screen just stapled to it. Oh, I love this house. This is Linda Williams. She's lived here, I think, her whole life. But what a beautiful house, 3229. Gosh, I love that house. I've said it before, I love a house that sits on its land and you can see the entire house. It just looks like a piece of artwork. It is a beautiful day, Lisa. Thanks for being here. Good morning, Margaret. Now, I wanted to say, you all have probably thought of this before, I really enjoy doing these walks. The internet calls it free content. I enjoy creating this free content for you guys. And I haven't asked this before, but I will ask it now. If you know or are connected with anybody that does live in Hapeville now or used to live in Hapeville now, and you think that they would enjoy the Hapeville channel, please do me a favor and invite them. Go on Facebook and invite them. I'd love to have them. We have like 1,200, almost 1,200 members now. Not everybody participates, of course, because Facebook algorithm doesn't work that way. But my core followers do, and I love it. This house has such great curb appeal, 3220. The other number fell off. But look at it, says Hope up on their porch. Hope and welcome. What a beautiful, and look how pretty their yard looks at this time of year. Hi, Lisa. I'm walking down Hope Street now. Once I'm done, you'll be able to go back and watch the replay if you want to. Here's 3215, a little Christmas spirit on the door. Oh, this one is adorable. I love a brick house. This is number 3211. They closed in their porch, but I love that they chose to do their roof green. Isn't that lovely? So pretty. It's a good day for a jog. And then right across the street from 3211. Good morning. Look at that. There's so much space between that house and this house. That one. Look how close that one is to that one. That's unusual for that time frame. There's a guy back there. He's working on it, doing some stuff. Wow, those are really close. Because the rest of the street, when it was developed, probably in the 30s, maybe the 40s, I have to look that up. Hope Street has been here a long time. 3207, beautiful green color, I love it. And they've got a nice little, that's the way to do it on this street. That is the way to do it. And you have less yard that you have to take care of, right? Here's 3203. Good morning, David. And then we're coming up onto Lily, and you can see a new build right behind this one. And now we're getting down to it's really interesting. When you're at this end of Hope Street, the highway kind of goes off southwest. So as you get down to this end of Hope Street, you're the luckier ones because you have a big backyard and you can just sort of hear the highway, but it sounds like a waterfall. But as we walk down further, as you guys know, Hope Street 85 goes at an angle like this, and it gets, like when we get down to the end, it's literally right behind that last house. It's crazy how close it is. 3201, beautiful mid-century modern house. And there's Lily. I think there's only a couple addresses facing Lily. This new build and that new build, and then that starts that land that you all told me was Dr. Wright's land that had a big ranch style house. And yesterday day before yesterday, when we walked down Oakland, helicopter, when we walked down Oakland, you got to see all the new development there. Hope and Lily Street. I think that's neat that street only has a couple addresses. So you can just be like, I'm one of two people that have a Lily Street address, 3200. This is a beautiful color, and I love their arched front door. This is number 3196. Green, I love green. It's absolutely beautiful. I thought that was a duplex for a minute, but it's not. That's 3197. That one got added to a lot over the years. That looks, it brings to mind the structures that you see over on Russell and Wheeler. Here's 3195. Oh, that's adorable. Golly gee. You can kind of tell when you look at houses which ones are Airbnbs and which ones are not. I could be wrong, but doesn't that looks like it's an Airbnb because there's no sign of like regular life, and it's all the shades are down. Makes me think, I'll bet if I looked that up on Airbnb that would be one. Don't know. Maybe they're just on vacation. Lisa says Springdale Road is on the other side of the interstate. We all played in the culvert under 85. I've heard all about that culvert. Look at that beautiful tree. Yeah, we were crazy kids, weren't we? Back in the day, we didn't have padded playgrounds. We played in culverts. Here's number 3192. It's got its louvered glass. Boy, that says 40s and 50s, doesn't it? And you can hear how the highway is getting louder as we walk down the street. I asked my friend Charles Thomas, who lives a street away on the other side, he lives on Oakdale, and I said, do you just pretend it's the waterfall? It just sounds like a waterfall? He says, I don't even hear it anymore. You hear that a lot. You just get used to hearing it. And you get used to hearing the airplanes as well. This is 3191. I love that there's moss growing on the roof. It's absolutely beautiful, but as a homeowner, is that a bad thing or is that a good thing or does it matter? Oh, I'm really curious about that because aesthetically it's beautiful. See, you can see the highway right there. Zip, zip, zip. Imagine sitting out on the deck there and just, there you have the highway. I can't even imagine, y'all, how beautiful and quiet it must have been back here before those highways came along. I mean, it's idyllic now, but to think that there was a time where you could live on Hope Street and you heard nothing, oh, that'd be a beautiful thing. It's number 3170, perched up on the hill a little bit. Oh my goodness, I love this one. Now, I haven't really gotten a good look at this because I've often just driven down this street, but it's a completely different experience when you walk. Oh, be still my heart. Look at that. With a little TLC. Oh, look at that window. This is number 3120. That is such an amazing house, and I like it because it's so simple. And then here's something that you see every now and then in Hapeville, but it can't happen anymore. This is number 3066. Boom, right behind it. And so close. So that makes me think that this house probably came first and they owned all this land and then they built that back there as apartments, or vice versa. I don't know. It's very odd to see them like that because now when you build, they try to keep all the houses even across the road at the same distance from the street. That's number 3066. And gosh, I love that, y'all. Have I mentioned how much I love that house? Good morning, Jack Almond. Good to see you again, my friend. I'm walking down Hope Street. Wow. And 3121 with a big magnolia protecting the house. And 3109. Yeah, now look at, as we get down to the end, we look over, the hill goes down so you can see above the houses, the highway. All those people have no idea they're zipping right past the coolest little town in Georgia. They need to follow the Hapeville channel. This is number 3060 Hope Street. Absolutely beautiful. Wow. Honestly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 houses right here in the in the highway battle zone. Listen to this. Wow. You hear that? It shocks me every time I come over here. I'm like, how do they do it? Oh my goodness, literally. You have to say what surprises me is it seems to me that that's really close. And I know a lot of people lost their homes when the highway came through all those decades ago in the 60s. But it seems like they would have bought these people out too. I mean, even this side of the street is too close. It's just crazy loud. Look at this deck that just faces the highway. Holy monkey. Do you all remember before the highway came along? Here's number 3090. Absolutely gorgeous. But here's the here's the last house before you go around the curve. And holy monkey. Highway, like you are on the highway. I just imagine a realtor, that house coming up for sale and a realtor bringing somebody here. I just can't imagine how as a realtor you'd pull up and be like, here's an option. And someone would go, yes, please. Oh, that house used to sit out in the middle of the quiet. And now, wow, progress, y'all. Maybe somebody would buy it and be like, I'll rent it. I'm not going to live in it. Good morning, Dave. Now this one is absolutely this one. Number 30, I think it says 3054, but look at this one, y'all. This one was, it looks like a little Snow White cottage. Y'all know anything about this? I mean, it has not been changed at all, which I love, and I hope no one ever comes in. Look at all the wrought iron on the carport, all of the filigree and woodwork and the awnings, and you can't really see. It looks Swiss. It looks Swiss. Look at the woodwork up there. Lisa says, yes, I remember we played on the dirt road gravel before they spread it out. Wow. I mean, that one is just, you drive up that little driveway and it just says, welcome, kiddies, come in and have a cookie. Dave, I've been meaning to reach out. I've been thinking about you. And we'll chat. I would like to know how your mom is doing in her new digs. I think of Betty and I hope she's doing well. And I hope the transition was not too difficult for her and the family. This is number 3048, and I'm having to talk louder now because we are at the highway. And there's a creek down there. Good morning, Nancy. Isn't it a beautiful day in Hapeville today? I've got to run some errands today uptown. My husband is doing a gig, a styling gig somewhere, and so it falls on me to get the last couple Christmas presents for family. So I got to drive uptown. I am not looking forward to that, so I figured I would take my walk now. Wow, this is loud. Beautiful house. Look at this one. This one is so beautiful. Look at their grass. Look at how green the grass is. And I love that they were like, you know what? We're going to put a water feature out front because water sounds beautiful. And it does. If you can hear it. Wow. Honestly, this blows my mind, you guys, because again, I've only ever driven down this road. I never walked over here. So to immerse yourself in it at this level on foot. Woo! Isn't that something? But they've done a beautiful job keeping it nice. And then we're at the curve. And I always wonder before the highway came through, did this go straight? I don't think it did. I think it was always a curve like that. And there we are. And then you're back up to Oakdale, where we walked the other day. Number 3047. All right, I'm gonna walk back. Dave says we had a tree house in there at one time. Did you? Oh my gosh. Yeah, you can sort of see across now. You can see across the highway, and over there, these warehouse type buildings. I think that's the backside of, on Sylvan Road, the backside of airport parking. I don't know if it's healthy or not. God, I just looked down Hope Street and I saw a huge airplane flying across, taking off from that angle. That was pretty dramatic. I don't know if it's healthy or not, but I spend a lot of time, and I've always been this way. I did it when I lived in Manhattan as well. I spend a lot of time looking at the world around me and imagining what it looked like before. And there's part of me that goes, is it good to dwell in the past like that? But I think to some degree it is, because it gives me a better appreciation of why things are where they are and what they are now. And that's why I'm so interested in the places, people, and events of Hapeville before me. You know, I think about this house, and I think, who was the first person to move into that, and what was that day like? You know, no highway, perfectly quiet. They're moving in with their stuff in whatever it was, late 40s, early, no, that looks like the 50s. The house would have been built in the 50s. It's like, oh, there's nobody in there. There's a guy in there renovating. I can see inside the door. And I think, who was the first family to move in there, and how excited were they? And how weird would it be for them to drive by now and go, whoa, our backyard is gone. It's now an interstate. $30.89 again. Little dog in the window saying hello. Or go away. These folks, look, they have a James Dean in the window. Art or cheap security? Oh. Good morning, Gene. I just walked all the way down from North Avenue and Hope, all the way down Hope Street. Now I'm headed back to my car. I gotta go up to Atlanta and do a little holiday shopping. I don't know about you guys, but I've never been someone who buys lots of gifts at Halloween, in the holidays. I don't prescribe to it. However, that has to change a little bit when there's kids involved, right? You don't want to impose your limitations upon them. And so I have a niece who's 5. She expects a present from Uncle Douglas and Uncle Dewey. So I gotta go find one today. But Douglas and I refuse to buy crap off of Amazon at Christmas. I feel it's impersonal to just click a button and have it come to the house in a brown box, not being wrapped. So we're doing it the old-fashioned way. And I'm gonna go to Richard's Variety Store. They've got a cool selection of toys. Get something for my niece, and then we'll pack it up and send it in the mail. Because our hands have to have touched it. Our energy has to be on it. Our love has to be in the wrapping. It's just our choice. It's just our choice. It's not for everybody. But boy, if I was a kid and just like an Amazon box came in the mail, I'd be like, what? Santa delivers by Amazon now? Good morning, Beth. I'm walking back up Hope Street now, back to my car. Bob said it's good both to remember the past, citizens of our town, and to look forward to what is coming with the new people who come into their places. I really like how you look at this. Thank you. I tried to. Many years ago, as a youngster, I realized that I was responding to change, any sort of change, with a knee-jerk negative reaction. And I remember driving to my, I've always had these aha moments. Some people will call it God. I'm not a Christian. I call it the universe, my intuition, listening to myself. And I've always been guided. I didn't have parents to guide me, and I didn't have that sort of connection, which is why I love Hapeville, because there's a lot of connection here. So I didn't have a lot of parental guidance, so I had to figure it out myself, but luckily someone was guiding me, some higher force, and I learned to listen over the years. And I remember driving to my job at Disney when I was in my early 20s. I was walking into work, or can't remember. I just remember I was on my way to Disney, stopped at a red light, and there was a girl in a car to my left, and her hair was dyed some bright color, pink, green, yellow, I don't know. Again, many years ago. I looked over at her and I went like that to myself. I went, ugh, why would she dye her hair? And in the middle of that thought, God, the universe, my own intuition spoke up and went, check that. Why'd you just respond like that? Why was your response, that's different. I don't like it. And in that moment, I sat there and I went, yeah, why did I do that? She's not harming me in any way. And if anything, my viewpoint should be, look how free that human being feels and confident with herself to express herself that way and to do something out of the norm, different, fun. And that aha moment made me start going, oh, change is not necessarily bad. It's just different. And so I moved to New York many years ago and lived in Manhattan with that viewpoint of the world. And if there's any city that changes quick, there's nothing changes quicker than I don't have hair, by the way. Nothing changes faster than Manhattan. I was able to employ that viewpoint there and practice it further because things would change on a daily basis. And the conversation from other human beings was often, oh, they knocked this building down, they did that, they did this, I'm upset, anger. And I thought to myself, there was a time where we all loved the original Waldorf Astoria Hotel. It got torn down and, people were upset about it, but what did we get in its place? The freaking Empire State Building, and now it's a cultural icon in our lives. So I brought that same outlook here to Hapeville, and I try to share that with folks, especially folks who've been here their whole lives, that change is not necessarily bad. Sure, I have opinions, and there are some things I'd rather see stay, and some things I, would rather not see happen. But all in all, the fact is, when folks say things like, they knocked down my dwarf house and they're building a new one, there go my all my childhood memories. My first thought is, sure, change is painful, loss is painful, but the fact is, there are new people here who are going to create their memories now. It's just like you're passing on the torch. And so that's why I feel like it's so important to recognize that whoever lived in that house many years ago held the very first Hapeville Boy Scout meetings in there, and they called it the tent house. But now somebody else probably lives there, or somebody will live there soon, and they'll create memories. And then in another 50 years, some dude like me will be walking around and going, oh, that house is where such and such lived, and there's totally new memories. And I think it's a challenge for a lot of people to embrace change like that. But